We have a question from Guillaume Stalnikiewicz. What a great name. Guillaume Stalnikiewicz. Thanks, very clear and educational. What about studio techniques? And some of the things I just said can apply to your studio sessions. It's useless to compare to a recording, but we all refer to it. So maybe tell us how to listen to hear the basic things they use, layers, EQ, what do they clean or hide from our ears? And this is a great question and so important for people wanting to produce these kinds of sounds in their album and in their songwriting. Like Aliki said, I'll let you get into your side of it in a minute, Aliki, but if you can find live recordings or live performances, good singers almost always sing different live than they do in a studio. And also, the more you know what it sounds like, what the actual sound sounds like pre-production, the more confidence you'll have in the sound you want to lay down and know how that's manipulated. But you just put out an album with your band, Eight Lives, right? So
Yeah.
give us some feedback or give us some insight behind the scenes.
Oh my goodness. So for Eight Lives Down, we actually did a very, very, very different kind of recording to the one that I usually do. So usually what happens is you're sitting in a studio, you've got a mic there, and you'll have a lovely audio engineer who will often want you to sound a certain way. And this means that in the context of recording in a studio, very often you push for that good take. And then you never do that live on stage. You never, 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 never do that again in your life. So it is a very, very, very common thing for people to feel more roughed up and be in more pain after a studio recording than after a live gig. Um, that being said, depends on the distortion. It's extremely common for people to want you to layer, uh, record your vocals 2, 3, 4, 7 times, and then they'll play like all 2 7 layers simultaneously so that everyone thinks, oh wow, it's such a big voice. And it's like, no, it's 7 takes all playing at the same time. And in the cases of some other bands, 3 entirely different vocal pitches playing at the same time, and there's everyone saying, but how does he get all these overtones and harmonics? You're like, he doesn't. He does, we don't. Um, so there's a lot of that. Then there are a couple of bands who just threw on the lovely, lovely, lovely effect called distortion, and they sang clean, and they sang with no distortion, and they have never sung with distortion. If it sounds very, very, very consistent, be very, very, very suspicious. And I mean very consistent. Not Kurt Cobain level consistent, very consistent. Like, I cannot verbally describe how consistent, but yeah, be suspicious of that. Um, Best advice that I could probably give is find someone who mixes those kind of vocals and literally shoot them an email and say, hey, I will pay you for 1 hour of your time for you to walk me either through how you mix these vocals or what effects you put over distorted vocals. As in, I would much, 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 much more highly recommend we talk to the audience about this rather than singers. I see so many singers asking singers what they do on their vocals, and it's like, ask the sound guy. Really, really, don't ask me, ask the sound guy. Now, for our album, we did a really super weird thing, which is that we grabbed an SM7B, which is like your most standard mic for distortions, and put it on a like gun holder mic, and I handheld with no pop shield and did the live show in the space. We didn't layer anything, so nothing on that album has double layers or anything, and the effects are kept to a minimum. And this was just because we constantly keep telling people that our approach has got a little bit of punk to it. And the reason that we do this is so that they don't put on all those layers that modern metal has nowadays, because we don't really like them aesthetically. So, so we did a slightly weird approach for that one. That's a bit different than what usually happens.
Yeah, I think it's a great answer. And Guillaume, it really will depend on yeah, what sound are you after? And if you have some bands that you're modeling, or this is a style you're after, sound designers don't get emails every day saying, "Can I hire you for 1 hour to tell me about how you do the vocals?" Because I'm a singer and I want to know what's going to work best in the studio that I lay down, and what then the designer can do. So they'll be happy. Usually they'll be actually very flattered and be like, "Yeah, I'd love to do that." You know, they're getting booked always for studio time, and rarely, you know, to teach. Give some private feedback on their artistry. It's an art form, you know, how they mix. So you might be surprised how eager they are to work with you.